Alright, yeah, guys. So, yeah, looking at the PlayStation, man, honestly, I like the look of it. I like the look of it. I'm going to be honest with you, y'all. I feel like they could have made it look better, for sure. Like, I feel like in certain aspects, they could have made it look slightly better. However, at the end of the day, y'all, you know, at the end of the day, well, I would say this before I say that. I would say my first impressions, honestly, looking at it, just like from right now, just taking a real good look at it. Honestly, it's like, it looks kind of like a modem slash router combo. I actually have one of those. However, though, it looks super, super futuristic. It looks like some modem or router that we'll have like 100 years from now on some like next level futuristic stuff. Honestly, it looks like a piece of technology that can do a lot of advanced things. Like, it doesn't look like, you know, a toy, you know? It looks really, really professional. You know, it looks sleek. I like the middle part of the black part. I like how it's nice and glossy. I like how they put LED lighting inside of the vents. It actually is pretty cool. It reminds me of like some PC builds that I've seen where they like to put a lot of those LED or RGB lights around, you know, the edges of the vents to, you know, have a nice outer glow or inner glow effect. Yeah, guys, I mean, overall, I really do like it. Please, don't let this put you off, guys. I'm super, super excited, man. I cannot wait to get this thing in my house, man. You know, all things said, guys, you know, listen, shots fired, call it what you will, y'all. I would take this design a million times over, you know, a different design that's so, you know, bland and simplistic, like just creating a box, for example, guys, you know? Regardless of how good or bad people may think this design is, they're doing something new. They're going outside of the box. Do you see what I'm saying? And honestly, I would definitely rather take this design than take just some random, you know, square, rectangular looking box that has, you know, that's really bland and that doesn't really try to innovate or, you know, doesn't really try to, you know, basically mix it up in any way, shape, or form, you know. And yeah, guys, let me fast forward just a bit. Okay, right there. You see how they did the zoom in effect? You can see it a bit better there. My favorite part of this PlayStation 5, I would say, is the lighting, man. The lighting is awesome. Like, the way they have it in the vents, it's amazing, guys. Another thing, actually, that I heard about this console was that you can actually put the console on its side. That's another thing that I heard. That you can actually put the console on its side, which is awesome. So if some of y'all may not like, you know, the stand-up idea, you can also lay it on its side. And that stand, from what I've heard and from what I've seen, that stand that's on the bottom of the PlayStation 5 actually acts as something to level it. So when you lay it down on its side, if you notice, the top of the PlayStation has like these two, it's like a V, and it's going outwards. It's almost like, oh yeah, shit, yeah, it is a V. yeah. Yo, another observation, guys, I just noticed is that if you look at the actual hardware, right? If you look at the actual, you know, the way the PlayStation 5 looks, right? It's actually in a V. If you look at it from the top bottom, I think they did that intentionally, now that I think about it. Yeah. So, guys, what I'm referring to is the numeral value of 5, which is V. That's the numeral value for the number 5. And yeah, guys, if you look right at it, it looks like it actually has a V. It has 2 points in the top, you know, going down into one intersecting point, and it looks exactly like a V, guys. So yeah, I guess that was kind of the point of the design while doing this. You know, honestly, it's really smart designing in terms of getting that V on there, because even if you look back at the early on dev kits, they did definitely wanted to include the kind of like that V design in their console. You know, they were playing around with a lot of different, you know, designs and whatnot that we've been seeing these past you know, couple of years. But definitely, I think they narrowed it down with this one. I definitely like the way the V looks in this console versus the way it did in the other dev kit that we saw previously, guys. But no, honestly, definitely look at it. Yeah, definitely looking at it, guys. Yeah, honestly, it looks awesome, man. It definitely looks awesome, you know. That DualSense is going to do amazing things, guys. If you want to check out my full breakdown of the PlayStation 5 DualSense, you can check that video out. I'll leave it down below in the description. I also have a playlist for it. But honestly, looking at the overall design of it, guys, I think they did a pretty good job, y'all. To be honest with you. Like, honestly, I'd give this a solid, you know, A-. A-, like B+, A-, and that's at worst. You know, another feature that I like, I want to pause it right here. Another feature that I really, really, really like is that, you know how some consoles, right? Some consoles, they just have like plain plastic, or maybe they'll have, you know, plain silicone, just plain, and they'll have a glossy part. You know what I mean? Just a glossy part and the plain plastic. Kind of like with the PlayStation 4, for example. This, they completely changed the game. If you look closer, right there, you'll actually see they actually have like a texture that's on the normal silicone. A texture that's actually on it, you know? Besides, you know, the glossy texture that's, you know, a different type of plastic, obviously. They have a nice texture that goes along the base of that right there, as you can see where it says Sony. A nice texture, guys. I really think that's cool. I think that's a nice addition. I think it's like a little, they're like fine details, like real fine details, you know? Like real simplistic, and it's different, y'all. It's different, you know? Like, I don't remember any PlayStation 4 console. I don't really remember any PlayStation 3 console having anything like that. I believe there were a few slim versions of some of these PlayStation consoles throughout the years that try to do something kind of like this, but not quite to this level. If you really look at the base, it has a really nice texture, guys. And honestly, it not only does it look great, but it's, you know, it's probably gonna feel great. And honestly, I just like them trying out new things. You know, I'm looking at it aesthetically. To me, in my opinion, y'all, it works. Aesthetically, to me, it works. And then, of course, my #1 favorite feature, you have the LED lights. Now, guys, you see how it actually reflects right off. You can actually see how bright they are. They actually reflect against the base, which is pretty cool. I've actually heard some things for people that have actually had this console in hand. I've actually heard that those LED lights, when you stand it up, they actually shine towards the ceiling. And I heard that it's not like overdone. It's not like overkill, but it has a nice little glow that shoots up straight into the ceiling. So that's pretty cool, y'all. Like, I don't think it's gonna be on the level of like a flashlight, you know what I mean? Or like, you know, giant LED strips that you'll put in your room. But still, it's gonna have a pretty nice lighting effect in your room for sure. And I love stuff like that, guys. I'm sorry, I'm a sucker for LED lights. I can't lie. But me personally, that's my #1 favorite aspect of the PlayStation. Me personally, I really like the vents as well. I would say the vents is like my third favorite thing. Those vents are super attractive, y'all, and they look really sexy in my opinion. Yeah, guys, honestly, overall, this is an awesome console. Like I said before, guys, you know, I'm not going to give them an A++++, because they can always do better. You know, any console, any company, they can always do better. Even me, even with the videos that I bring y'all, I can always do better. Do you see what I'm saying? However, what I will say is this is definitely a solid B+, you know, A work. I would say B+, A work. Looking at it a little bit closer, like looking at the vents and stuff, I would say a solid B+ to an A. At worst case scenario, y'all. I feel like, you know, that's my opinion or my assessment of the design. I would say if I were to give it a numeric design, because I know a lot of people like that, I would say it's a 9.5 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10 for me personally. You know, I have a few little minor nitpicking things, guys, but honestly, you know, like they're just that, nitpicking things. You know, looking at the console, y'all, it looks amazing, man. It's sleek, it's glossy. We have these nice vents coming out. We have the LED lights shining into the vents. You know, it looks like some Alienware shit. You know what I mean? It looks really, really futuristic. When you take a second, you know, pause it, take a second, really look at it. It looks very futuristic. Guys, one more thing I also wanted to add that's pretty cool. That's actually pretty much unprecedented for Sony, you know, SIE, or PlayStation to actually do this, is they actually included 2 different types of PlayStation at launch. Guys, usually they don't do this. Usually they'll launch a console, they'll wait 2 to 3 years, and they'll launch a revision, or they'll wait a year and they'll launch a slim version of it or whatnot. At best. Looking at this here, this is actually pretty amazing that they were able to launch 2 different types of consoles at once. So as you see here on the left, we have a regular PlayStation 5 console that has a disc slot. And if you see on the right, we have a PS5 digital edition. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you my honest opinion on this. Me, I don't really give a shit about digital editions. I don't. I would always prefer a console to have a disc drive no matter what. However, you know, there are some people out there in the world that do prefer digital editions. So I think it's a nice touch. I think it's very pro-consumer. Although that term sometimes is used, you know, in a pretty poor way, I think it applies in this situation. And yeah, I think it was a pretty pro-consumer move of them to include 2 different consoles at launch. You know, one that's digital and one that's not. You know, catering, you know, to, you know, people that like buying their games digitally. And I think that's pretty cool. And who knows, y'all, another, you know, a nice idea to think about, you know, while you guys are looking at both of these consoles is, who knows, one might be cheaper than the other, and that might be a real significant factor. For example, the PlayStation 5 might be $500-600. The digital edition, without the inclusion of that disc drive, might be like $400, $450, maybe $500 at most. So we actually might get, two different launch prices, which is pretty awesome. And, definitely makes it easier for people out there, trying to afford these pretty expensive and pretty advanced consoles, especially during the coronavirus, as as I'm pretty sure you guys know, it's pretty tough out here.